With me while I show you what I'm eating today as a white transmasculine, femme non-binary, temporarily mostly able-bodied, neurodivergent, obsessive-compulsive, chronically ill, culturally Jewish, Unitarian, Universalist, non-monogamous, demoleo, romantic, gray, demi-bisexual, a survivor of acute complex trauma, millennial, and cat parent in mental health recovery.
It's a trap!
Hold on, dude. Yeah. Hold on, Chad.
I will read you to filth.
Chad! Oh, Chad! Chad!
Swear to me!
What is going on with this thing? There we go. Playing around with some new assets. Hello, everybody. It's TGIS. Thank you for being here and hanging out with me and the Noid and Batman. I don't know, whatever. I fucked that up too. I can say that. We're 2.5 minutes in, but yeah. Thanks for being here. I wanted to not necessarily get away from Joe per se. I mean, Joe will always be my number one love in life. I mean, it shaped everything that I am. Aw, Stuart, thanks for being here, dude. But I do have other interests as well, and I put it in the community tab for channel members on the old YouTube page, asking if everybody wanted to talk about AI in social media or AI in the toy collecting hobby space. I'm not going to say the hard K word. Community. And Batman toys won out. And since I've been working on the Joe room, but as I get through stuff in the Joe room, all the stuff for the game room was packed up in there too. And I've been expanding on my 1/12 scale Batman collecting. I thought, maybe people want to talk about Batman. And I have some I don't want to say controversial, but I have my own opinions on the old Dark Knight that a lot of people do. The worst Batman villain ever made was Sin Tzu. What a garbage character he was. We're going to talk about some Batman villains. We're going to talk about characters that were never made into figures, even by Toddy Mac, which I know a lot of people are, shocked by that. But yeah, there's a lot of characters that nobody made, or they were only made in the animated series aesthetic, kind of that cartoony style, which, as much as I love Batman the animated series, it's kind of not the way that I want to go with collecting and displaying Batman stuff. That being said, I did put a poll up. Is the Arkhamverse and Batman the animated series connected in your headcanon, or do you feel like, yes, all around they are connected? That's kind of in Arkhamverse circles, that's sort of a big topic of I guess, debate or conversation. What's up, G-Force? Good to see you. Is Batman Arkhamverse related to the animated series, or is it only because of the voice actors? And it's not all of them as well. It's just kind of some of them. Chad said the secret word. No. We're not doing a secret word today.
That's that bullshit.
Yeah, we're just doing me and you guys. We're talking about all things Batman. It's kind of a very broad stroke conversation. Oh, I guess I got to throw the fucking chat up, huh? Not that I really need to, but yeah. Todd's not made a Batman character. That's crazy talk. Is it though? Because I got a few examples of characters that McFarlane's never made. Oh, Snap says collecting Batman is such a rabbit hole. Sure, it can be, but I approach all of my collecting the way that I always approached my Joe collecting. So it doesn't matter if it's Transformers or if it's G.I. Joe stuff, even Action Force. It doesn't matter what line or overall IP it is. I pick and choose. So my Batman left and right limits, with a couple of sneak-ins, there's a couple of characters that sort of found their way in there. Arkham, Knightfall, and that's kind of it. So, but there's caveats to that. So if I have Arkham representations of characters, am I going to have the Origins version of, say, Killer Croc and the Asylum version of Killer Croc? No, I'm just going to have like one version of Killer Croc. I do have the Asylum and the Night versions of Scarecrow, but the Night version of Scarecrow is carded and kind of over in a bookcase, whereas the Asylum version is what's displayed, and so on and so forth. You know, there's kind of always that pick and choose, but Batman himself, like my one central, like keystone figure on the shelf that's Batman, which Batman version do you pick? And it's not even the Ben Affleck, which Affleck's my favorite Batman. I know some people are either going to rage quit or, you know, call me a piece of shit. That is not my favorite version of Batman in action figure form, because it's Batfleck. The dude is built like a tank and the figure is skinny, and I don't like it. Even the Arkham City Uncle Toddy Mac version of Batman, he's got like he skips leg day. So I'm very picky when it comes to which Batman I display, and it's actually the Hush version that I have displayed on my Batman shelf. So can I say that's Arkham or Knightfall? No, because it's Hush Batman, but I like that Batman because Jim Lee for the fucking win, kids. Yeah. Let's see what we got starred real quick, and then we'll move on. Pardon me. Random Stuff Garage. It's like you read my mind. Oh, I just finished reading Hush, speaking of which, for the first time, and now I'm all bat brain looking at figures. Might get Mafex. I'm going to say Mafex, right? Because action figure Mafex, but holding like Braveheart to see what in art. Oh, I don't know. I will tell you, having seen those in art figures at San Diego Comic-Con up close and personal, posing a couple of them on tables with old Mr. Laser Pants himself. In art does awesome stuff, but they're a little smaller. I know. I'm not like a scale snob, but I'm not going to get one of those in art Batmans. That's like Batman and He-Man. How do you pluralize that? Batmenses? We're going to say Batmanses. The Affleck Batman from in art looks perfect. Down to the pores on his cowl. He is amazing. The detail in that is fantastic. But he's small. He's like the size of Robin in my collection, so I can't do it. That being said, I I know Random Stuff Garage, you said you were going to be on the replay squad, which is fine because you can watch this on replay. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm going to pull up some assets that show like all the different lists of figures that are available. And it's not just, you know, DC Collectibles, DC Direct, and McFarlane. There's tons. So yeah. Thank you very much, my dude. Appreciate it. Kenzo's Creations. What's up? Kenzo says, yo, thanks for always reminding me to take my meds, Chad. Shit.
Just checking in. Have you drank water today? Did you eat? Did you take your meds?
Yeah, it happens. Thanks, Kenzo. I appreciate it. Scotty's Vault, channel member for 16 months. Thank you for being with the chat holes since day one. My dude says, wow, I'm finally catching a live. Glad you're here, man. Thank you for being here. And my good friend, Jeff W. Thank you, Jeff, for the $10 super chat. Thanks just for being a rad guy, my friend. I picked up the Batman Beyond Batmobile. Yeah, from McFarlane on Amazon for $67. It has lights and sound and looks great with the Action Force Black Praetorian. Okay, a couple of things to unpack there. That's actually a perfect pairing, right? Advanced in both aspects. That's really cool. Very smart. And then the other thing is people can dunk on Toddy Mac all they want, right? The dude's eccentric. I met him IRL at a Walmart once, way back in the day. I want to say 95, 96. I've told that story before. But you cannot argue. This guy puts out awesome freaking vehicles. He doesn't crowdfund them. He doesn't put out like a little Lamborghini Cheetah. Looking at you, Cobra Stinger. You know, an overcharge. I have the Batman Forever glow-in-the-dark Batmobile. I didn't put that one central fin on it, and it looks just like the Arkham Asylum Batmobile. It has a little button. The cockpit pops open. He puts out some good freaking vehicles. The Batmo Beast, remember when he put that out and everybody was like, yeah, suck it, Hasbro. People could learn a lot. From Toddy Mac when it comes to certain things, because I think articulation wise, a lot of his figures don't really hit the mark. I have two versions of Nightwing. I have the Knightfall Nightwing, which is kind of like the Teen Titans suit, complete with ponytail. And then I have the more modern Nightwing, the black and red that came with the Court of Owls 3-pack. Those figures articulate phenomenally. Then I got a bunch of other Toddy Mac figures. I can't even put the leg at 90 degrees. So it's kind of a minefield, kind of a pick and choose. But thank you for the super chat, my friend. Thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being you. Yeah. Zakanan wants to know favorite Batmobile in any media. First of all, thank you for the $6.66 super chat, my dude. Thank you for being ever translucent. I'm going to tactically pause. People say, dead air. I need to drink out of my grenade mug every now and again. Favorite Batmobile in any media? I think it just depends. The 89 version of the Batmobile and, you know, Batman Returns as well. That's a phenomenal car. The Tumbler was great for Nolan's more grounded version of Batman, but I don't like the more grounded version of Batman because I like Clayface and I like Killer Croc. I like Killer Croc done well. I don't like the way that he looks in Suicide Squad. But then again, even in the Arkham versions of Killer Croc, he keeps, you know, transforming or, you know, physically regressing, I guess. But Nolan's Tumbler was a practical vehicle. It could do all of that awesome stuff. So I didn't like the Tumblr when I first saw a still image of it. I was like, that's stupid. But then the way that it plays out on screen was perfect. The real world concept, like, in combat, two of these would, jump and blah, 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 the bridge. I thought that was kind of rad. The animated series Batmobiles, plural, they fit very well for that Tim Denny kind of aesthetic. And I like Ben Affleck's car as well. I will tell you my least favorite is probably a toss-up between Batman and Robin's freaking disco car and the Robert Pattinson freaking It's Not Batman, It's Just Seven. Yeah, I didn't like the Robert Pattinson car at all. Sorry. It is what it is. I didn't like it, so. You guys know I'm opinionated, right? Right. So we've all got our own hills that we'll die on. But yeah, the Batman and Robin car can get bucked, and the Pattinson car can get bucked. Favorite, I don't know. I think if you put to my head, I would probably say 89. I'd probably say Batman 89 because that car is just awesome. Yeah. As far as everything else, Tim Burton Batman, nah, but they nailed the car. They really did. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry if that was a long-winded answer, but it's Batman. If it's Joe or Batman, like, I'm going to talk it all day. Zaymot Rogue channel member for 15 months. Thank you, my dude. Says, for me, best comic Batman was Jean-Paul Valley. Okay. So you like the Order of Saint Dumas conditioned armored Batman from Knightfall. I love the Jean-Paul Valley Batman, Azrael Bats or whatever we want to call him. I love the entire Knightfall story. That was just that time where Spider-Man's getting all the clones and Superman's dying off, and this other dude's Batman. And I mean, there were crazy things afoot in the comics industry back then, but we're not going to get into all the foil cover variants and these will be worth something later when none of them are worth shit. I just bought a first run. I don't remember the actual number of the Batman comic, but I know in Knightfall, it's Knightfall 11, where on the cover, Bane is folding Batman in half over his leg. And I got that for $15. It's like never been read, whatever, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jean-Paul Valley's Batman, his dynamic with Tim Drake's Robin, his dynamic with Nightwing, and, how the Bat family kind of deals with him. I like Jean-Paul Valley, but he went insane and Batman had to deal with him, or Bruce Wayne had to deal with him. We'll say, man, this chat is flying. Dragon Reborn, what is up, my friend? It's good to see you. Cliff says, for me, the animated series is its own thing. So then let me ask this: if the animated series is its own thing, is Arkham its own thing? They're not connected at all. I don't know. Stuart Jardine, as a very casual DC follower, I really only follow the huge events. See, that's me with Marvel. Like, I know enough about Marvel comics, reading them as like just a casual kind of reader, to know what was changed with the MCU to like put it to the big screen. But I'm just casual enough with the MCU where I don't delaminate or spaz out. Actually, this wasn't like this. And, where's Black Suit Spider-Man in this story? I just don't really care. But me with DC, and it's not DC, it's Batman. It's kind of like Batman is where I kind of put my finger down on it. And, there's some things around it, but I am very opinionated when it comes to all things Batman. I have my favorite Batman. I have my least favorite Batman, so on and so forth. But yeah. Bat Stan says, Batman? Never heard of her. I think you mean Bat Stan.
I ain't got time to be distracted by your worthless chime-ins. Go on.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I did mean Batstan. Sorry, it was a typo. 27 different times it was a typo. Oracle in wheelchair? Yes, Oracle is in a wheelchair. In like every iteration of Barbara Gordon, Babs, Batgirl, Oracle, she gets the Killing Joke treatment. Oracle or Alfred? What do you think? Both? I'm a big fan of Oracle. I didn't have a problem with Batgirl. I know some people don't like the larger Bat family, but really, if you think about it, Batman's whole crusade is because he was orphaned. And throughout his crusade, he sort of like scoops up all these other orphans. Not Tim Drake, not Barbara Gordon, but he sort of scoops up these people throughout his, nightly escapades over the years, and he creates his own family, something he never had or that was taken from him when he was a kid. So I kind of like the duality of that, and I appreciate the Bat family. Not Gotham Knights, though. They missed the ball with that game. F your feelings, you ain't sheet. Man, that was hard to read. Thanks for all the skull emojis. Appreciate that. I can actually see those. That's interesting. Rowdy says, I don't think they're related. Conroy and Hamill did lots of unrelated Batman stuff. True. One thing that I will say about the Arkham verse that I appreciate about that universe of Batman is it brings in aspects of Knightfall. It brings in aspects of Hush. It brings in aspects of Long Halloween. It brings in little character arcs and beats throughout all of Batman's larger and, smaller, more obscure stories, but it sort of redresses them in that, Arkhamverse way. So, I mean, you've got Black Mask, there's mentions about how Bane broke Batman, in Arkham Asylum, Batman's like, this time I break you, but we don't really have the whole Knightfall thing play out because of his interactions with Azrael, and it's not Jean-Paul Valley Azrael, it's the other more modern Azrael. You've got Clayface in there, you've got his little cameos in Asylum where he's still in his cell walking back and forth, and he keeps changing into, Quincy Sharp and Cash and Gordon, but you don't really see anything larger with Clayface until Arkham City. You've got Ra's al Ghul, the whole relationship with Talia al Ghul. No Damian Wayne, but there's little beats in there everywhere. Talia makes mention about, that night they spent together, and I want to say Paris. I think it was Paris, but Hal Jordan says classic Batgirl that McFarlane showed today looks fantastic. So does the Earth 2 Society Batman. My go-to Babs figure is the Three Jokers Batgirl. And I would get Oracle in a wheelchair, but she comes in a 2-pack, and that's not McFarlane, and it's actually very expensive. So, Tom Miller, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Hope all is good. I hope all is well with you too. Very much. Suka says, in my home country, we collect Soviet superhero Blight Man. Not Red Sun Batman. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Red Sun story. So Impossible Pie says, I grew up reading Knightfall. Yeah. I used to go to Hastings. For those of you who know what Hastings is, it was just one of those like super media stores. And yeah, I would get all my Knightfall comics there. Sub-Zero, what's up, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I am trying to keep up with the chat. The chat is flying today. Thank you all for being here. For those of you who are content creators who are here hanging out, I really appreciate that support. I'm kind of going somewhere with that. All of us who are content creators on YouTube, YouTube has changed its algorithm, and we are all getting bent over the same proverbial barrel. So the YouTube algorithm is just killing certain types of content creators, certain size content creators, and we're all feeling that. So thank you all for hanging out. I greatly appreciate it. Impossible Pie says my favorite version of Batman is the comic version. That's kind of a it's a very broad statement. Which comic? Because there's a lot of different comics versions of Batman. Are we talking post Knightfall, pre Knightfall? I mean, you could even argue what the Dick Grayson Batman. Which one? Just like your average milquetoast Bruce Wayne comic book Batman, and even in some of the titles like Shadow of the Bat, you know, he kind of plays out a little differently. Stuart Jardine says, big question then, Knightfall or Azrael Jean-Paul Valley? Do you mean like Jean-Paul Valley Batman or Azrael? I don't know what you're actually asking. I like Jean-Paul Valley, period. I like him as Azrael. I like him as Batman. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's like my Batman, because, you know, my Batman will always be Bruce Wayne, because that's just kind of, you know, it's like peanut butter and jelly. That's just how that goes. Jonathan Redman, what's up? Says, Killing Joke is my favorite Batman and Joker. I like the fact at the end of the book where that's kind of the whole, you know, we're destined to do this forever thing that Nolan and his brother and David Goyer sort of cherry picked out of that, about they're destined to do it forever. And I like the fact that they share a joke and a laugh at the end, rather than, you know, the Joker losing a few teeth. So, Oh Snap says, oh, the Batman skipped leg day variant. I'm telling you, look at the Arkham City McFarlane version, not DC Direct, not DC Collectibles, but the McFarlane. He skipped leg day big time. Big time. The chat is jumping around, so again, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep track of it. Impossible Pie, my favorite Batman that I display isn't even an action figure. It's the Bowen Designs Batman. I go, oh yeah. Well, I mean, you know, displaying statues is cool, and action figures. If you know, you know. But yeah. Greg Harris, what's up, man? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hal Jordan was staring at my old Hush Harley Quinn figure the other day. She went back on my shelf and will not be sold. Awesome. I have the DC Direct Arkham Asylum Harley Quinn on display. Because again, you know, I try to stay as Arkham or Knightfall faithful as I can, within reason. So, Den Zens, I started collecting figures because of Batman. See, that's cool. I can personally say, oh, and look at Red Hood. Very cool. I can honestly say that I became an adult collector because of 1995's Power of the Force 2 Star Wars. That's when I knew I was going to collect toys. And then, you know, I since moved on to other things. That sort of led me to rekindle everything G.I. Joe. Ooh, Mother Slug, favorite Robin. For me, Teen Titans Robin, because I really can't pick a favorite. What Teen Titans Robin, though, and what iteration of Teen Titans? That's the question. So are we talking Teen Titans Dick Grayson just left Batman about to become Nightwing? Or are we talking animated Teen Titans? It's technically Tim Drake I don't know. So like which version it is. See, and that's where it gets a little muddy, because I know that like when we all say things like in our head canon, we're like, this is the one I'm talking about, but there's lots of different versions. Even the live action Titans that's on HBO Max or whatever the fuck they want to call it this week. That's another continuity of Robin, but it's it's Dick Grayson. So I don't know. So Zakanan says, I'm sorry, did the high priest of the Lord scale say he wasn't a scale? I'm not a scale snob. I have lots of different scales. I think I have representations of every common scale of action figure collecting from 1/6 to 1/18. I even have mask shit, the OG mask. Exo Squad, I got all that stuff. So get out of my base. For Joe, I just prefer 1/18. Yeah. Possible Pie says Tim Drake all the way. Yeah, I'm a Tim Drake guy. There's just something like, especially when we look at the comics, Tim Drake, you know, everything that happened with, you know, his father being paralyzed, his mother being, and what he did to learn that Bruce Wayne was Batman, and the fact that he didn't have like all the street smarts that Jason Todd had. He didn't have the acrobatic skills and, you know, those skills translating to martial arts like Dick Grayson had. Everything that Tim Drake had, he had to work twice as hard to achieve. And the fact that, man, the first time you see him in that Robin 3 suit, I freaking love Tim Drake's Robin suit. When we're talking comics continuity, because Dick Grayson, you know, he had the little weird shorts like scales, and he had the winged booties. And then Jason Todd did the same shit. And finally, when they came around to Tim Drake, they're like, you know, we're gonna update this. We're gonna crank this up to 11. And just the fact, the way that his cowl, or you know, his neck brace, I guess, on his cape connects, and that yellow piping, I freaking loved it. That is ours, a shuriken, the telescoping bow staff, all of it. Just, you know, he's got the tabby or the ninja boots. Just everything about Tim Drake's suit just screamed fucking awesome to me. Na toys. Yeah. Good to see you, Jeffy. Thanks for being here. Ken's Toys says LP's is this Laser Pants' Toys? Is a new company. They have a license to make Arkham stuff. Oh, baby. I'm all for it. There was another company that was making Arkham toys at the same time that DC Direct was making Arkham toys. Currently, I can't remember the name of it. And for some reason, it's not in like my super awesome master list that has everything from Ertl to Kenner to Jada. I can't remember the name of it. And they made awesome Arkham figures, but they're madly expensive. So Possible Pie says Kenner never made an animated series Red Claw figure, which sucks. There's a lot of characters that never got made. Laser Pants is LP says Jonathan Redmond is also making a Hush figure. I like my McFarlane Hush. I do. I don't know. I got the 2-pack with him and Batman, you know, and the shovel and the Jason Todd grave scene. I kind of dig it. So that's just me. Justin Booth, I chose the Keaton Batman figure because of the suit. It just looks freaking cool. I'm waiting for my order from Marauders to show up. It's the stuff to make my custom Deathstroke figure. Very cool. What scale? 112? Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, I mean, we all as collectors, we all kind of spice our shit up. It doesn't matter if it's classified or legends or whatever. Like I believe that a lot of us, you know, we kind of pick and choose what we want to update or upgrade, but that's really cool. And you know, the Keaton suit, it did a lot to get Batman away from the, you know, the Bat-Watusi Adam West stuff. But I firmly believe that every incarnation of Batman has its pros and its cons, no matter what it is. I don't think that any one is perfect. Me personally, I would say that Batman the Animated Series comes the closest. However, comma, pause for dramatic effect. Each one of them has their good points and their low points. You know, the old Adam West Batman, Frank Gorshin as the Riddler, perfect. Burgess Meredith as Penguin, perfect. Not all of the Rogues galleries, but the big three, right? Joker, Penguin, Riddler, amazing. Catwoman, pick your Catwoman from that era, awesome. But Batman and Robin, really campy. Wayne Manor, cool. The Cave, pretty cool. That car is fucking awesome for its time, but you know, each one of them has their pros and their cons. I didn't like Tim Burton's Batman stuff because I think Tim Burton was lost on the larger universe and he just got caught up with Gothic freaks, Bruce Wayne as Batman, and everything else he just kind of winged it. So, but again, his car's bad as shit. Isn't InArt 1/12 scale? Yes, InArt is. But it's like true 6-inch. So trying to scale those with anything McFarlane, and it's going to look weird. But again, that's the same thing with the DC Direct or the DC Collectibles stuff. I have one of the DC Collectibles Capullo versions of A Court of Owls Talon, but I have him standing with McFarlane Talons, and they're just a little off. But again, there's a lot of Talons, so they can be a little off, and that's okay. That's just me. That LP Zaza Deathstroke looks amazing. Very cool. 0 points given. Thanks for being here. I honestly have zero clue on Batman figures, but this is a good educational film. It's what I'm here for. Thank you. I appreciate you being here regardless. Yeah, one way or the other, it's all cool. And then Buck Fuddy. Let's just all stare at Buck Fuddy's picture for a second. Speaking of educational, Buck Fuddy has two very good points to make right there. But also says, I like Batmobiles. I like Batmobile also. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. You know, where's all the freaking silly quotes? I was waiting on all the quotes, you know, swear to me with my skills that I learned in the mountains. Rachel. Yeah. Knightfall Batman is good. Big fan. One thing that I appreciate about the whole Knightfall story is that every one of like your main Rogues Gallery villains, they all kind of get their chance to shine, but at the same time, they take backseat to the overall kind of Bane, you know, his machinations, why he released everyone from Arkham, so on and so forth. Like, you know, Killer Croc shows up, Bane breaks his arm. The Joker's kind of here and there, Scarecrow here and there. I remember Victor Zsasz more from Knightfall than I do Joker. In fact, the Zsasz figure that's on display in my game room is the Knightfall Zsasz with the deep black, you know, hash marks and those weird black triangular eyes. I like that Zsasz the best. Tactical pause. Yeah, I did that. Greg Harris, I've got the camouflage tumbler and all the bat cycles with my classified Joes. I could see that, the DBDU, the desert battle dress version of the camo. I could see that tumbler going well with classified. I could. Yeah, 100%. Jeff W says McFarlane Thomas Wayne Batman is my favorite he's made. Just love the look of the cape and the dual holsters. Yes. That Thomas Wayne Flashpoint Batman is freaking awesome. But again, I didn't go down that rabbit hole, because if I did, it's not just Thomas Wayne. I got to get, complete the set, so to speak. And then I'm getting Flash. Then I got to get a Wonder Woman, then on and on and on. And nobody got time for that, man. Zaymot Rogue says Arkham Batmobile for me. Which one? Arkham Knight Batmobile? Arkham Asylum Batmobile? That's the thing, right? Anytime one of us says this one, well, there's multiple this ones, I don't like to assume. So Zaymot Rogue, which Arkham Batmobile? Because again, like I said earlier, if you take the Batman Forever car and just don't put that large fin on the top, just put the ones on the wheel wells on the fenders, that's pretty much the Arkham Asylum car. Jeffy, what's up, dude? The Arkham Batmobile is not a tank. No, it's not. It's a tactical assault vehicle with multiple weapon systems. Yeah, actually, yeah. Defensive and offensive. Some are lethal. Here's my hot take. I do not like Arkham Knight. Sorry. I don't like the story. I think Batman and Arkham Knight, like right off the cuff, he does that kind of trapping that you would see in a lot of the Batman movies. I like the Nolan movies to a degree, except for Dark Knight Rises, and Dark Knight falls apart in the last 15 minutes. They should have ended it once Joker's hanging upside down. Why is it that Christopher Nolan's Batman always wants to quit? Like every time you turn around, like he's just trying to quit or tell everybody who he is. In Batman Forever, fucking Bruce Wayne stands up in this, crowded circus and yells, "Harvey, I'm Batman." No, you're not going to do that, because it did him no good. He still went down there and kicked all that ass anyway. They need to stop that shit. This whole thing that Batman's just he's waiting to die or he's waiting to quit. It makes sense in Dark Knight Returns because he's old. He's in his 70s. I get it. This would be a good death. Sure. But when you're talking about Batman in his prime or in his early years, you're not going to train your whole life just to be a fucking quitter. So in Arkham Knight, right off the bat, he's saying goodbye to Alfred. He's saying goodbye to Dick. He's saying goodbye to Tim. He's kind of an asshole to the rest of the Bat family. This whole thing with Joker, blah, 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 blah. No. Which sucks because I love the Arkham games. I love them. They're some of the best games, the best superhero games ever made. I would put them against the Spider-Man games for sure. The free flow combat, how it revolutionized superhero combat gaming, but just games in general, they're fantastic. I can't really do Arkham Knight. I will die on the hill of Arkham Origins all day long, but not so much Arkham Knight. I got to treat that shit like an Elseworlds and just change his skin. But it sucks because the free flow combat in Arkham Knight is as perfect as it got. And I'm glad that they kept refining and, kind of tweaking the free flow combat. If you go back and play Asylum after playing Arkham Knight, it's painful. It's very painful. You have to replay them all in order so they get better. Yeah, the free flow combat's great. The city is fantastic. The way they made it higher and the streets wider to accommodate the Batmobile, the way you can jump in and jump out. Yeah, fantastic. Zakanan says the Batman Batmobile is fire, but that's second to the Superpowers. The Superpowers car is awesome. Yeah. When you say the Batman, you're talking the Pattinson live action, not the animated The Batman, which I like the animated The Batman too. The way they animated him with claws on his fingers and he had the whole bat wave thing, if anybody got down with that. But yeah. And then Same Time Toys says, what the what? What the what? What? Huh? Fuck are you talking about?
It's science, people! Science!
I don't even know what you meant. So I'm sorry. I like the way Croc was played in Suicide Squad, but didn't care for the look either. They did a good job with the whole, they treated him like an animal, so he became an animal. I believe Amanda Waller even says that. So they definitely knew how to treat Killer Croc, but the fact that they made their version of Croc short, he was shorter than a lot of characters, and I don't know about the way that he walked. I don't know if that was supposed to be like, sorry, ghetto, or if that's just, he's walking the way a crocodile would swim. It was a little interesting. And the fact that he wanted BET, I don't fucking know about that. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Fred says Hush Batmobile was cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good Batmobiles. Again, going back to Knightfall, I like that Batmobile where it sort of had a spoiler, but it had like bat wings as well, but they wrapped up in the back like that, and the headlights were pretty much his lenses and his cowl. I really like that car. The Knightfall Batmobile is pretty fucking slick. And it's blue and black. I dig it. Batstan, who should know, says Super Friends or 66 and 89 Batmobiles. I think the ma'am's coming because my doorbell alarm just went off. Yep. Because look who's here. Bat hounds. Come here. Come on. Get up here. You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. Hello, everyone. It's me. Yeah. You're not a Batman dog. You got to go. You don't fit the theme. Just kidding. Hello, ma'am. How are you? The ma'am's here, everyone. No, mine. Make sure you drink your water today. Do I have to play it again? Do I have to? What do you think? Should I play it again? Yeah. She says I got to play it again.
Just checking in. Have you drank water today? Did you eat? Did you take your meds?
Did you drink water today? I'm drinking black tea, but yeah, it still applies. Whatever. Yeah. Mother Slug says 89 Batmobile got it right comic book wise. Yeah, I mean, there's been, yeah. See, the ma'am says no. She said the 66.
Where Batman's fighting sharks and stuff.
Yeah. Ma'am likes the 66 Batman with the bat shark repellent. We just watched that the other day. Yeah. Adam West. Yes. Yeah. Greg Harris says, I'm waiting to get the Batwing for my Joes too. The Batwing from the Flash movie. Again, Toddy Mac will make some vehicles. Impossible Pie, least favorite Batman, Forever, Batman, Robin, Batmobile, I think is underrated. Okay, so your least favorite Batmobile is the Batman Forever car, and you think the Batman and Robin Disco Mobile is underrated. I think that's what you're saying. Yeah, cool. Jeffy says 92 Batmobile from the comics. Is that not the same one from Knightfall? I think it's the same one with the kind of the wrapped wing spoilers. Yeah. Buck Fuddy, tough between 66 and 89 Batmobile for me. My second favorite disco car sucked. Okay. Well, it's all good. Gun Bunny Customs, what's up? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Viper Scout says Batman and Robin one-seater open cockpit is awful. Yeah. Yeah. They went a little Mobat, little 82 G.I. Joe Mobat on that sucker. I don't know why Batman would have an open cockpit for one. I do like the fact that he ejected out of it. I mean, that was kind of cool. But yeah, I don't. They went a little too far with the neon and the ultra comic booky, you know, we gotta sell toys. They went a little too far with that in Batman and Robin. Does Batman and Robin have some good points? Yes. I appreciate the fact that Mr. Freeze, actor aside, I appreciate the fact that Mr. Freeze called Gotham hell. That was cool. Because in the movies, you don't really hear Gotham referred to as like the hellhole, shithole, cesspool that it is. Not that much. I liked the erosion of the relationship between an aging Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. And I thought that Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy was pretty fucking awesome. But again, Hollywood being Hollywood, they have to tie Poison Ivy in with Bane, just like, you know, Duke was engaged to the Baroness before she was the Baroness and when she was a blonde. And that's that simplicity, right? That Michael from Retro Blasting always talks about the simplicity. You take something simple and you make it so complex that it's just shit. Anyway, but yes, they all have their good points. They all have their bad points. Hal Jordan, the Nolan CAD. Why'd you CAD that in quotes? And Pattinson car are the worst Batmobiles. I liked Nolan's urban pacification aerial. I don't know. I don't know if you can call it a VTOL, whatever. The Bat. I liked Nolan's version of the Batwing. That was kind of interesting. It did stick with the aesthetic of the Tumbler. Yeah, I did not like the Robert Pattinson car, but I can see how that's kind of based on that very year one-ish, like I'm just really like modifying a car. I see where they were going with it, but yeah, I wasn't a fan. Wasn't a fan at all. Mother Slug, the Batmobile was originally red. Did you know that? No. Which Batmobile was originally red? Because in my mind, I see the old long roadster with like that battering ram Batman shaped kind of head on it. Kind of looked like a dick. The whole car kind of looked like a dick. If you ask me. Yeah, that's the first Batmobile I remember. You called it. You said it was Robert's car, not Batmobile. Yeah, I mean, I liked the reveal of the car, how it's just sitting there, like, you know, and he's revving it, and you see the blue fire kind of coming out of the turbine. So, and the Joker got away. Hey, you know, in Arkham Origins, which is another reason why those Arkham games are so brilliant, just the conversations that you could hear throughout the city or the asylum or, you know, whatever the location is based on the game. But in Arkham Origins, they're singing the Jingle Bells Batman Smells. Yeah. I mean, they don't really say Joker because it's the origin of the Joker, but yeah, very cool. Zaymot Rogue, I couldn't get past Riddler in a gimp mask. Nope. Yeah. It's a Soviet cold weather. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. I appreciate what they kind of tried to do with the Batman Riddler, but that movie it very much screamed Seven to me. There were parts of it that I did like. Again, there's parts of every one that I like. I did not like, what's his name? Fucking Smeagol, Gollum, Snoke. I didn't like that dude as Alfred. I didn't like him as Alfred at all. Not one bit. I liked Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons is like my on-screen Batman. Yeah. You know, like he wears that British army sweater, you can see that he's a fucking badass without them having to beat you over the head with dialogue that he was a badass. I liked Michael Caine's Batman too, but I got to give it to Jeremy Irons for sure. Red Exo Mac 5, man, I hope I said that correctly, says, finally, a chat I know stuff about. Cool. I'm glad. I mean, Batman is a big part of the zeitgeist, you know, that whole collector culture that we're all in. And I love me some Dark Knight. So I thought it would be cool. A lot of my closer friends were surprised. Yeah, I'm getting rid of him. He's moving around too much. A lot of my closer friends in this space were surprised that I was doing a stream about Batman. I'm like, just because I'm a Joe guy doesn't mean that I don't know. Because Fred F. Pattinson was cool for like a year. Oh, for like a year one. Again, it goes back to all of this stuff. What's your G.I. Joe flavor? Some people grew up with Sigma 6. Some people grew up with Tiger Force and Python Patrol. Some people really like Eco Warriors. Some people only like Classified. That's fine if that's your flavor. It's the same with Marvel. Like all of you people who are big time Marvel fans, I'm sure a lot of you are like, you know, you see these MCU people coming into your Marvel space and they only know the MCU. They don't know shit about like the real Baron Zemo. They only know the Baron Zemo from Civil War. Or they think the way Civil War played out on film is the only way that Civil War story ever played out. You know what I'm saying? So I get that some people like that, you know, more emo, vegan, Pattinson, skinny Batman. I don't. That's cool. If that's your Batman, it is not mine whatsoever. But then again, I was 15 when Tim Burton's Batman came out in 89. But even at that age, I sat in the theater and watched it and I'm like, what is this? Like, I knew that it was like a new interpretation of Batman, but I was like, this isn't the Batman that I read in comics. So I was not blown away by 89 Batman. I appreciated the fact that I could get a Batman t-shirt anywhere in 1989 or any Batman merch. That I thought was cool. But I really dissected it through a critical eye. I didn't even like the way that they changed his logo in the oval. There was a lot of stuff about 89 Batman I didn't like. I liked that cave. I thought that cave was fucking cool. I really did. Yeah. Buck Fuddy said, I liked the Batcuda better than the Crumbler. It's good. It's a good play on words, man. Yeah. And that's cool. Zakanan, I wasn't expecting 89 Batmobile #1 makes a note in his diary.
That's that bullshit. That's that bullshit right there.
I can like the car. The car's fucking rad. That design is like, it's timeless. It just is. It's like the Cobra Hiss. It's the first time you saw it and you're like, man, that thing is awesome. It's like two freaking doorstops on top of each other, but it fucking works. It just works. The 89 Batmobile works. That's all there is to it. Toyomic Displays, what's up, dude? Says 89 Batman is GOAT. I don't disagree. I think there's a lot of designs of the. Oh, you said 89 Batman. I'm sorry. I thought you said Batmobile. No. Now we're gonna fight. Sorry, I have to change my tune. No. There's parts of 89 Batman that are awesome. Pericles, what's up? Best Joker in any media, and why is it Mark Hamill? Because it is. Come here. Oh, my cat's all fucking disheveled looking. Oh, it's been a while since anyone's seen fucking Space Ghost. Say hi, Space Ghost. Yeah. I don't know. She's looking a little haggard. She came in here all fucked up looking. You know, this is going to be, I've said this before, so I'm sure it won't be a shock to some people, but it will be for others. Visual aesthetic aside, Jared Leto's Joker, fucking badass Joker. Now, if I could take the visual aesthetic of Heath Ledger's Joker or from the Nightmare Future version of Jared Leto, that's a fantastic Joker. Like, put a couple together. I really like Mark Hamill's Joker. I really, truly do. He would definitely be my number one. But again, animated series Arkham, they do go hand in hand, partially because of the voice actors, but there's a lot of timeline stuff where Arkham coincides with the animated series. I like Mark Hamill. I've always said that Mask of the Phantasm is my favorite Batman movie because it is a movie. It was released in theaters, animated or not. That is probably my definitive Batman movie. But again, it's going to be a common thread throughout this whole stream. There are some things in Mask of the Phantasm that I didn't like. The fact that Joker or Joker, I'm sure he wasn't Jack Napier. He may have been another version of Jack. He was like a mob, kind of enforcer, driver, He was like a capo in the mob. So I don't know. My Joker is always, Red Hood. He was the failed comedian. His wife died in that weird like bottle warming accident. And then, he did the whole Red Hood thing and he had that one bad day, which the Arkham version of Joker does carry over that whole I had one bad day, Red Hood, I was a comedian thing. I will say my favorite Joker is Mark Hamill's. Yes. But then again, just like with the Batmanses and the car, I have a favorite comic version. I have a favorite animated version. I have a favorite, live action version. So whatever. Mother Slug, chat is never going to keep up with the chat. I never do. Never. That's my shtick. I play Nightmare Fuel clips and I'm always behind on the chat. Welcome to it. That's my life. I don't have fucking producer Scott in the chair. This is what I got. Me. Yeah. Justin Booth, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Justin. Appreciate you being here. My custom Deathstroke figure will be 1/18 scale. You did not have to super chat that. I greatly appreciate it. I was watching the chat for that. I'm glad to see that your Deathstroke will be in the Lord scale. There's some really good 4-inch Batman figures out there. There really are. Robert Diaz, channel member for a whole freaking year. Thank you, my dude. Says Gotham's prosecutors, quite frankly, suck at life. Yeah. Gotham is that cautionary tale of revolving door policies. If any of you live in a city or a state or a county or region or area or whatever, country, some of you that are soft on crime and criminals and have revolving door policies like Albuquerque, where I live, you can kind of understand how those policies, those failed policies, that whole like entrenched sort of, like Chicago and the dailies, it's just on and on and on and on and on. Corruption, don't give a fuck, just want power, don't give a shit about the little people. That's kind of the cautionary tale of Gotham City. Whereas Metropolis is like shiny and glass and steel and spires, you know, gorgeous. Everything glistens in the sun. And you have the Daily Planet's globe and Superman flying around, and it's always bright and sunny. And then you have Gotham, right? Whereas Gotham is that old layers upon layers of filth and neglect and stone and gargoyles and broken windows and subways and sewers. That's Gotham. Whereas Gotham is that failed revolving door policy kind of city state. Metropolis is not. And again, this kind of goes back to Gotham City as a character, which I really feel that Nolan, his best contribution to Batman on film would be how he portrayed the city as a character. You know, the city is a living, breathing thing that will crush you. It crushed Joe Chill, which crushed the Waynes, which created the Batman, on and on. The way that all these cops are corrupt, the only way you get by is to be corrupt. Gordon is, you know, a fish out of water. He's the odd man out because he is not corrupt. He's one of the few who isn't. And then if you want to go further down the rabbit hole, you have like Montoya and Bullock and other cops, you know, in the comics and the animated series that are not corrupt as well. So, yeah. But again, Gotham's history is the Arkhams, the Elliots, the Waynes, the Cobblepotts. Those are like the families that built Gotham. Almost all of them were corrupt, were fucked up, or crazy to some degree or another. And that sort of created that built-in rot that would become current day or modern Gotham. And Metropolis, you know, didn't have that. You also don't see that in like a central city, but Gotham for sure. And that's where you need Gotham to be that kind of a character. And that's Arkham City to me is like that pinnacle Arkham game. It's improved upon from what Asylum had, and it's not as convoluted or far afield as Arkham Knight is, but you see how people treat Gotham. Like they treat their own city like shit. Like, we're going to wall off part of old Gotham that's just falling apart. Put all the criminals in there and let them eat each other. Like it's fucking Escape from New York. I didn't give a shit about it. So anyway, yeah. Now that I'm done rambling about just the city, but I feel very strongly that the city needs to be its own character. It is as important as Jim Gordon, Joker, the Batman, so on and so forth. All that. Same out Rogue. Thank you for the $2 super chat, my dude. Jared Leto was the Joker. I will die on that hill. I will stand by that argument all day long. First of all, thank you for the super chat. Leto's Joker, if you gave him the visuals, like the aesthetic of him, you know, later on where he's got the long hair and, you know, like the rubber dishwashing gloves on, if he looked like that the whole time, or just less pimpish, you know what I mean? Jared Leto's Joker is pretty in line with Mark Hamill's Joker. The fact that he does that weird, like when he almost like inhale purrs, you know, like threateningly at people. And I like Heath Ledger's, how he always had that, like I'm chewing on something in my mouth, like maybe he's chewing on his scars. Again, I think that each one of them had their pros and their cons, except for Jack Nicholson. He was just playing Jack Nicholson, and I will fucking fight you all day. I know that 89 Batman is like so entrenched with people, and they just love it because I guess it was like their introduction to Batman, but Jack Nicholson's Joker is just a gangster. That's all he is. I would argue that Jim Carrey's Riddler was more the Joker than Jack Nicholson's Joker was the Joker. Just Jeffy. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Jeffy. You definitely did not have to do that, but I appreciate it. One thing about Batman, most of us like the character. The better part is we all love different versions, except Hal. Hal is always wrong. You know what? I couldn't agree with this more. Yeah. I appreciate the fact that a lot of people swear by 89 Batman and thusly Batman Returns to some degree. I appreciate the fact that a lot of people really like Batman Forever and on and on and on and on. Like we all have like our versions. And one thing that I really appreciate is if you chose to, you could cherry pick. I like Arkham Batman, Arkham City Batman, because I like that suit. It's Kevin Conroy's voice. La, 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 la. So I'm going with Arkham City Batman. I'm going to go with Batman, the animated series Two-Face, because they did a really good job with the whole Big Bad Harv and all that stuff. And I like the fact that he is just stark, black, white, you know, kind of that yin yang contrast. I like Knightfall era Catwoman in the purple, going with that. I like this version of Nightwing. I like that version of Joker. On. You could literally tailor make your own perfect Batman universe if you so chose, because I don't think that any one of them is perfect. However, Merrick Feingold says, I like the Batmobile from 66. Fuck you, Chad. I paraphrase some of that, but yeah, that's cool. If that's the one you like, it's a good looking fucking car. And when you see it in person, it is so beautiful. Zaymot Rogue, damn Skippy. Azrael is my favorite Bat family member. Red Hood and Nightwing come in a tie for second. I think it's interesting that you say that Azrael is part of the Bat family. If we really want to break that down, is Azrael part of the Bat family? Is there a wrong answer? That's the point. No, there's no wrong answer. Maybe in your head canon, Azrael's part of the Bat family. I love Azrael. Everything about him. He made a belt-fed freaking Batarang shuriken dispenser. Come on, belt-fed. And those claws. I loved watching the genesis of the Asbats or Azrael Knightfall Night Quest Batman suit. You know, one day he's just in the suit. The next day he's got these gloves on. Then he's got some belt-fed shit. Sorry, I keep hitting my microphone. Which, by the way, thank you, HyperX. I love this mic. It's a badass mic. No, I didn't get it for free. It's just a point. I like the mic. Greg Harris. I have the Black Knightfall Batman and Catwoman figures. Yeah. The black and gold Knightfall Batman. That's a good figure. I have him as well. He's actually not in my game room. Yeah. Menjoza, but Azrael looks great in his own gear. The best to me, but I was surprised on how much I love Jean-Paul Valley. Agreed. You know, there's different versions of Azrael. I'm not the biggest fan of the hits you over the head with the Crusader visual language of the Azrael from the Batman games. I like that first early Jean-Paul Valley where he has the mask and the hood and he has the flaming blades coming out of his arms. I like that Azrael. That's the one that I have displayed. So, yeah. Mother Slug says Batman has been everywhere. Hell, Batman fought the Predator and aliens. And he stood down Darkseid on numerous occasions. But that being said, I am also not the biggest fan of this. All Batman needs is prep time, and he can fight and or defeat anyone, anywhere. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Batman became the DC Comics Jesus, kind of like Snake Eyes became G.I. Joe Jesus. And I'm not truly on board with that. Now, the fact that like Batman could somehow dodge Darkseid's Omega Blasts or Omega Beams, however you look at that, I thought that's cool. But I mean, him fighting a Predator, sure. If Dutch can take on a Predator, fucking Batman can take on a Predator all day long. But there's some, and we've all seen certain story beats where Batman's just like stomping everyone's ass. You're like, oh, okay, Snake Eyes, calm down. Batman fought Snake Eyes. I'm sure somebody just put that in the fucking chat, even though I'm like, I'm not that far behind. Am I an hour behind? But God. Anyway, yes, Batman fought Snake Eyes, but at least they fought to a stalemate. I will give that. Krusty Old Crow. That's a name I've not heard in a long time. A long time. Good to see you, dude. Teach me Arkham. I have not stayed current with the Bat. Well then. Yeah, I actually have a bunch of web pages pulled up. And I don't know if you guys like this new layout. I've been messing with kind of, pimping out my ride with Canva and stuff and some custom layouts on here. So yeah, I've been playing with some stuff. Oops, see, we're going to pull that up here in a minute, but I'm going to use a different screen for it. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk a little more about Arkham stuff, but I got to say, if you're not well-versed on Arkham stuff, Crow, you can just go to YouTube and you can search like Batman Arkham timeline, and it'll, there's lots of videos that talk about everything Arkham from like Origins all the way through Knight, the comics that go along with it. So yeah, exactly. I wish I knew what you were talking about because I would like to chime in on that. Viper Scout, he exists in Batman the Animated Series. Yet the Adventures of Batman and Robin. Actually, I like that aesthetic too. Justin Booth. Robert Pattinson Batmobile looks a lot like the Redbird. Yeah, Robin's car in the comics is called the Redbird. I'm sure that's what you meant. The only difference is that his car was a coupe, whereas Pattinson's was more like a 60s Dodge Charger. Yeah. Yep, I will get down with that. Chad, who is your favorite toy line of Batman? You know what? We're going to get to that here in just a second. Scott Hughes. For all the channel members, everybody got to hang out with Scott Hughes on the pregame. That was fun. Flip the script. What's the worst Batman? Worst Bruce Wayne? If different from first question. Oh, man, that's hard. I would honestly toss a coin between Pattinson and Clooney for both. Absolutely. Clooney was just Clooney. No matter what he was doing, he was George Clooney. I think a lot of that comes down to the movie itself as a whole. But yeah, I didn't like Clooney or Pattinson whatsoever. Yep. Sorry. Probably going to crush some feelings. Jonathan Redmond. Chad, have you read Absolute Batman? No, I have not. I know about Absolute Batman, but nah, that's not my jam. It's proper batshit crazy. Exactly. That's why it's not my jam. A pretty unique take on the character. I agree with all of that, and my answer is still no. Because of those reasons and lots of others, that's not my Batman. Just read the new Batman #1. Not sure I'm all in, but my interest is there enough to get issue #2. Sweet. I like that. Mother Slug. Arkham game has nothing but everything to do with Batman, as it uses latest info in comics, but outfits to how characters act are totally wrong. That's a lot of word salad, dude. how the characters act are totally wrong. I mean, I'm not going to argue that if that's your opinion on that, but I don't know. Arkham Selena Kyle's pretty fucking dead on. Pamela Isley, pretty dead on. And especially in Asylum, like when you listen to the interview tapes or like the therapy tapes, man, that stuff is good. Plus, Killer Croc bit off Cash's hand. Yeah, absolutely. Jeffy says Babs is out of the chair these days. Yeah, I mean, Babs was out of the chair in Gotham Knights, which is a loose, very loose continuation of Arkham Knight, or the Arkham Bat family. Yeah, she's been out of the chair for a hot minute. Yeah, she had all the experimental surgeries and all that stuff. And, she has like back braces internally built into her suit. Yeah, I'm good with that. So there's been lots of real world examples of people who got up and walked again. So yeah, I'm good with that. Stuart Jardine, I meant as a McFarlane figure. Man, I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep track with everybody. Cooter's Garage. Cooter. People didn't like the idea of Jean-Paul Valley replacing Bruce, so DC did a 180 and turned him crazy. Yeah. For a short time, the journey that Bruce Wayne goes on after getting his back broken, the fact that he had finally been defeated in such the way that he was, being paralyzed, thrown off that roof for all to see. If you read all the Knightfall comics, he does bounce off a couple of roofs and awnings and hit the ground. I mean, that fucked Bruce Wayne up. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all that stuff. And then he had to kind of go on that journey. And I appreciated the fact that he had Jean-Paul Valley step in because he knew of like his conditioning with the Order of St. Dumas and all of that stuff, rather than getting Dick Grayson to do it, because Dick Grayson is, for all intents and purposes, Bruce Wayne's son. So he's not going to put his son in that, proverbial lion's den because of what Bane just did to him, right? Bruce, the most trained, the most skilled out of anyone in the Bat family. I mean, Dick Grayson's a fucking badass. But he's not going to send Dick Grayson into that. He's going to let Jean-Paul Valley do it. Sure, makes sense. They even, like Tim and Dick even talk about it. I said Dick. They even talk about it in the comics. And the journey that Bruce Wayne goes on, to me, when watching Batman Begins, is very reminiscent of his journey during the whole Night Quest, arguably into Night's End, with Lady Shiva, taking on the mantle of, the Mask of Tengu, and how he has to retrain his body and mind. So, yeah, I do agree. But Jean-Paul Valley was a necessary instrument for that story. And I mean, I will give DC credit for the way that they finally defeated his Batman, once the conditioning had fully taken over and he's in that fucking crazy nightmare suit. The fact that Batman just kind of keeps backing down into the cave entrance where he first found the cave all those years ago as a small child. And in a way, it's Bruce Wayne coming full circle. He was Batman. I don't want to say he was complacent, but, he got bested. He came back. But as he comes back, a renewed, rejuvenated Bruce Wayne / Batman, he also goes back into that place as a kid when he first found the cave before his parents were killed. And he forces Jean-Paul Valley to strip away all of his armor, and reveal the person rather than his Batman. And that's how he defeats him rather than just beating his ass. I liked it. I thought it was kind of cool. So, sometimes our comics are a little deeper than just, it's a dude, you know, in tights. So, yeah. Jeffy says both serve their purposes, but I think when Babs was Oracle, it was better for the mission. I agree. 100%. I think that Oracle and Alfred, they work very well together. Yeah. They complement one another in what they do. Victor says, Chad, I recommend you the store Plastic Universe in Miami. I will check it out. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Tall Geese Zero. Man, it's good to see you, Zero. Says Tim Drake is my favorite Robin. Mine too. Absolutely. Drew G. I liked Oracle, but I prefer her as Batgirl. Alfred was Batman's Oracle before her. Yeah. Alfred was always Bruce's guy in the chair. 100%. But I like Oracle as a sort of an overall information brokering umbrella. Damn it, again. You know, not just for the Bat family, because I don't really consider Huntress part of the Bat family. She's just the Huntress. But, you know, she brokers information for a lot of people. And I think that Babs, she really found her calling with that. And she did it before she became Batgirl anyway, in a lot of the incarnations of Barbara Gordon, to include Arkham Origins, which she's awesome in that fucking game. Yeah. Oh, Viper Scout with the hot take, boy. Tim Drake is not just the best Robin, but DC's best character. Fight me, motherfuckers. Okay. I fucking love Tim Drake. I love Tim Drake. 100%. Gay. That's fine. Oracle was interesting as post-crisis. Yeah, agreed. Did anyone catch Night Owl saving the Wayne family at the beginning of The Watchmen? Yes, 100%. That is that cool little Elseworlds alternate universe. Yeah, where he stops the death of the Waynes, Thomas and Martha. That is true. Plus, the intro for Watchmen is probably one of not just comic book movie, but any movie intro. Watchmen, Zombieland. Yeah, very awesome. But yes, that was Night Owl saving the Wayne family, 100%. Tristan, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. And then Victor says the better brand for toys of Batman is Kenner. Yeah. Yes and no. You know what? We're gonna fucking do this. Let's do this. I'm going to ready. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this and that. What do you think about that, kids? Yeah. It's pretty slick, huh? I like it. So let's take a look at some of the different lines of figures, because I will even say for myself that when I knew I wanted to complete any 1/12 scale Arkham Knightfall, when I started that, I knew that there was DC Direct, there was some Mattel stuff, there's some Hasbro stuff, there's some, right? You can see all of it right here on the screen. I can make it a little bigger. That's what she said. But there's a lot more stuff out there. And when I started going down the rabbit hole of Arkham and Knightfall toys, I was kind of blown away, because there's just a lot of it. When we come here like this, we'll come down to the Batman stuff. And this is Action Figure 411. They don't have everything, because even if you look at Action Figure 411's G.I. Joe, well, they have the retro collection, which is not 3 3/4, it's 4.115. Actually, it's modern 4-inch. But this is the Walmart stuff. Here's classified. Real American Hero. It says 82 to 91. No, it is 82 to 94. So there's a lot of stuff on this action figure 411 that's not accurate or is incomplete because it doesn't show Sigma 6. It doesn't show a lot of other stuff. So, yeah. The post 97 G.I. Joe stuff's not in there. Masters of the Universe. Where the fuck? Okay, yeah. So here we go right here. You have McFarlane Page Punchers, DC Universe Classics. Okay, right. McFarlane DC Direct, Mafex, DC Collectibles Animated Series. So you get a lot of different stuff. This where it's just says Multiverse, that's just your generic McFarlane DC Multiverse stuff. And then I have other checklists here, and this is DC Collectibles Hunters. DC Collectibles Hunter. That's where I found a lot of the Arkham stuff, because here we see Arkham Asylum, but then you come down here. Okay, well, let's just take a look at this. Right. So here's your Arkham Asylum figures. I apologize. A lot of these have ads. So you have Arkham Victor Zsasz. You have Scarecrow, or sorry, Scarface with the Joker right here. So I have this Scarface not with the Joker because in the Arkham games continuity, there's sort of a behind the scenes story, kind of Easter eggish psych out thing where Harley has positive pregnancy tests lying around, but then later on she takes Scarface. Ventriloquist isn't even in the games, but she takes Scarface and does his face up to look like the Joker. So there's different versions of Scarface in the Arkham toy lines, but this is a freaking awesome Joker. I have both of these. And then there's other versions of Joker where he comes with Joker teeth and so on and so forth. And yeah, but so you have the Joker. There's just a lot of, and I gotta say, the sculpt on this Ivy is phenomenal, but her articulation is freaking dog shit. Her articulation sucks big time. There is no torso, waist, whatever articulation whatsoever, but they did a good job with her hair as like vines. And yeah, the figure is really good if you can get past the articulation. But again, it all boils down to your flavor. Do you like the aesthetic of the figure, or do you want, you know, the articulation? I don't have this Bane going on, but this Scarecrow, I love this Scarecrow. Like, he's emaciated. He's all fucked up looking. He's very skinny. He has weird mangled proportions, but it's a good looking figure. So again, it just kind of depends. But a lot of people, they're just not tracking the amount of figures that there are. Because even if you look at this checklist right here, so there's battle damaged Batman, there's regular Batman. This is the Harley that I have, and she's got Warden Sharp's cane because, again, in the game, right, she hits Warden Sharp over the head with it. Bane's as armored Batman. Like, then there's like different sets and things like that. And then it just gets more and more and more down the rabbit hole. So if you look at just Arkham series alone, we got 24 different figures. There's Robin, Zaz, the Deadshot, Hugo Strange, which is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. He's kind of hard to find. I got mine at a decent price only because the blister that he was on was very yellowed, and I was going to open him anyway. But yeah, and then there's like the Arkham City Batman, like down the rabbit hole where he's messed up because it's at a point in the game where his suit's taking damage, but this is during the whole Mad Hatter thing, so he's a little jacked up looking. There's also a Arkham Origins Firefly, which is a fantastic figure. And then we go to the Origins here. And it doesn't show them all. Again, right, which is weird because you're not going to see everybody. Unmasked Infected Batman. There's Hush. So you may like the DC Collectibles Hush, or you might like the McFarlane Hush. So there's lots of different versions of figures. And I got to say, this Mad Hatter figure, I have him. He sucks. He's like 3 inches tall. His arms only articulate at the shoulders. So all you can really do is raise his hand to his hat, or you can take his hat off and put it in his hand. This figure is shit. But McFarlane never made an Arkham Jervis Tetch. It never did. Again, there's that different version of Azrael. It's not Jean-Paul Valley, but you got different flavors for different people. But I will say that the DC Collectibles Mr. Hammer and Sickle are freaking awesome. They are fantastic. And then you get into the origin stuff. I'm a big fan of this Black Mask. I mean, could you make a Kitbash Black Mask with like a red skull head and some kind of suited body? Yeah, absolutely, because I've considered doing it, but I just kind of wanted the Arkham one. This is by far that is my definitive Penguin. The Arkham Penguin, where he's not wearing a monocle. It's a bottle that got jammed into his eye. He's just awesome. So the Arkham Penguin is like where I'm at. So Mojo, what's up? Really looks cool. Sucks Jervis Tetch doesn't move enough. Yeah. And he's, like I said, he's small. He's a very small figure. So Livingstones, what's up, my dude? Chad, are you actively collecting comics? I don't know about actively collecting comics. Yeah. It just kind of Cobblepot. Yep. To me, that's my Oswald Cobblepot is the Arkham version. It's not the one that spits green goo. And, the only thing that defeats him is heat because the air conditioners quit working because Selena Kyle killed Max Schreck. No, again, if you like Batman Returns, that's great. But the everyone's freaks and weirdos. Nah, I kind of like my Arkham. Everyone's like shady wannabe gangster, like scumbag. I'm a big fan of that. Talia Al Ghul, another example. I like the sculpt of this figure. She doesn't articulate worth a fuck, but she's Arkham. I've got her. I do have a Damian Wayne Robin displayed in my collection, and he's displayed with his mommy here. So yeah, but it just kind of depends on your flavor. But there's a lot of stuff that was put out that people just aren't aware of. Like, I think this Firefly is a phenomenal figure. The only thing that sucks, and you can put blast effects into his wings, you can't put blast effects into his torch unless you drill into it. So Bobby made Kingpin. Kingpin from Daredevil? Yeah. Speaking of Kingpin, there's one figure that no one made. This character, I don't want to say he's obscure because he was a fairly decent chunk of Knightfall. Speaking of Ventriloquist and Scarface, but it's Amygdala. And I mean, this is a page right out of, I don't want to go to Pinterest. Come on. This is a page right out of Knightfall right here, because there you see Tim Drake, Robin 3, and you see Batman and Amygdala. But Amygdala was a very big part of the, there he is right there, of the storyline for Knightfall. Nobody ever made an Amygdala figure. And I got a Gray Hulk and a custom screaming Kingpin head. And I'm gonna, repaint him obviously flesh colored, and then I'm gonna make an amygdala, but nobody made amygdala. Nobody at all. No one made a non-animated series version of Phantasm. Now, if you want a 7-inch Phantasm, you're gonna get the animated version, very angular, very kind of blocky looking, but my collection isn't based on the animated aesthetic. Mikey, what's up? Pretty sure I know someone that is making one. Meh. What do you know? Oh, he skipped a bunch. Yeah, I'm sorry. The chat just jumped. It jumped way too far. Livingstones, he was pretty cool in the subsequent HBO series, but doesn't really feel like Penguin. Yeah, there's a lot of different iterations. Scott Hughes says, despite my distaste of Edward Man, is Battinson, the sparkly Batman, the Penguin series from that universe was superb. I absolutely agree. But again, see back to my flavor is more leaning toward gangsters and, criminals, petty crooks, things like that, than freaks and weirdos. Croc has a place, Clayface has a place, Mr. Freeze, so on and so forth. But they're more gangsters because of the corruption in Gotham than, French flipper trick and the green goo and all that stuff. If you don't like the Freak Penguin from 92, miniseries Penguin is your perfect version. Colin Farrell was out of this world as Oswald Cobblepot. And I was waiting for something to come out in that series about how the Cobblepots fell so far from that one of the founding families of Gotham, that Grace, how far they fell from that. So Mother Slug, Chad, are you a fan of Batman Beyond? Yes, I am. I think that's a very good continuation of the whole, cape and cowl mythos. I do like Terry. I like the fact that Terry took on the mantle because everybody else moved on, grew up, did their own thing. I like Babs as Commissioner Gordon. I think that's kind of cool. I like Ink. I think Ink's pretty cool. There's a lot of good characters in Batman Beyond. But I also like the cameos, dude. You get a Bane cameo and he's all old and effed up and he's on oxygen and skinny, malnourished looking. So yeah, I like it. JLS, I'd be more of Darkclaw, the Batman Wolverine. Yeah, that mashup was awesome. I like Darkclaw. I think he's pretty cool. So Clayface movie. Is this in James Gunn's DCU? Inquiring minds want to know. Please let me know. Now that I'm mostly caught up on the chat again, I'm sorry. It skipped. When I go over to the starred comics and then I come back to the live comments, a lot of times it will jump. So I'm sorry for that. Yeah, I am not feeling James Gunn's DCU. I'm not at all. I know some people like it, but no, he is all about the nepotism. That's his dog that Crypto was based on. The only reason Suicide Squad and Peacemaker stuck around was because his wife was in Peacemaker, and then he retconned the end of Peacemaker season 1 in Peacemaker season 2 because it's now his DCU. No. I think that any of these existing continuities and IPs and things like that, they are bigger than any one person. They're bigger than Kevin Feige. They're bigger than James Gunn. They're bigger than Zack Snyder. I'm not a fan at all. Sorry, the ma'am. That's just me. So if that's your flavor, cool, you've got it. I wanted to see Joe Manganiello and Batfleck go at it. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a whole movie of Ben Affleck's Batman fighting like he does in that warehouse scene, which 100% is, a love letter to Arkham. Everything that Ben Affleck's Batman does is Arkham. Oh, you know what we're going to do? Watch this. Watch this. Let's do this. What the frig am I doing? Oh, my Lord. I'm having some moments here, kids. I'm sorry. I'm having a big moment. Are the Arkhamverse and Batman the Animated Series connected? 61% said no. You're all dead to me. All of you. Every single one of you. You're dead to me. Let's give some channel memberships. And that's how you do it. Just like that. So we just gifted 5 channel memberships. Stuart Jardine. There you go. Headcanon Unlimited. J Solo Arts. Rogue Killer Keys Collects. Riddler infected Chad's computer. No. I just wanted to give some channel memberships before we go back to what we were doing. But yeah. Anyway, so congratulations to all of you that received those gifted channel memberships. Hopefully you enjoy them. You might not. Individual results may vary. It's just a lot more nightmare fuel. So it is what it is. My good friend Suka sends a $5 super chat. Thank you, Suka. And says, we need a Batman versus Teenage Jesus crossover. I love you. No, we don't. Thank you for the super chat, though. We don't need that at all. Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of people, like, they're looking at that. They're like, Teenage?
What the fuck did I just hear?
Yeah, Teenage. No, thank you, Suka. Appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to use my Sergeant Lincoln Osiris. James Lucas, channel member for 16 months since day one. Thank you, my dude. Says, having a shit day at work. I'm sorry to hear that. Much rather be here with my bro Chad, my dude bros and Chad holes. Well, I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you being here very much. And we love you. For that, I'm going to give you this. Yeah. I hope your day's a little better now. Headcanon Unlimited, who just got gifted a channel membership from yours truly. Thank you for the $10 super chat, my dude, and says, Flashpoint Batman has become my favorite version. Let me finish reading the rest first. As I have gotten older and become a father, his origin is more realistic than the original. Okay, so you're talking about the Thomas Wayne Batman. I could see that. It's a very interesting take how what happens in that alternate universe if Bruce died at the hands of Joe Chill versus his parents and what it does to the parents, where Martha goes insane and Thomas becomes Batman. It's a cool story. I definitely agree with that. I like the whole Elseworlds alternate, what ifs. Big fan, but cool, man. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. I'm glad you received one of those gifted channel memberships. So I appreciate you. Kenzo's Creations. What's up, my dude? Kenzo hung out with us last week. Miss you already. Channel member for 4 months says, Leto playing Skeletor in live action thoughts. I don't know. Is Jared Leto a good actor? Yes. Is he weird and eccentric? And does he have like a cult that follows him around? Yes. Does that have any bearing on him being Skeletor? No. I don't know how I feel at all about this new Masters of the Universe movie. Just because they set it on Earth again, we're going to put a pin in that. I think Jared Leto went from being a very, very good character actor to being a dude that they just put in too much shit. But that movie that he was in, it's with Denzel and the guy who played Freddie Mercury. It's like that police detective movie. Leto was fucking good in that movie. It just depends on the role, man. and how weird he's going to get. When he played Joker, he went a little over the top with like sending people dead pigs and use condoms. Like, who does that? That's weird. I don't know, but yeah, we'll see. Can it be any worse than Mark Hamill voicing Skeletor as the Joker? I thought Mark Hamill did a fine job as Skeletor, but it was basically his Joker voice with Skeletor window dressing. Argue me if you want, but I don't know. We'll see. Drew G, my buddy with perfect, awesome hair, channel member for 15 months. Thank you, my friend, says, best Batman. How it should have ended Batman. Why? Because I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Yeah. The how it should have ended Batman is fantastic. I like the fact that him and Superman are always in the coffee shop. Yeah. That's awesome. But then also the college humor Batman, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Fishy, no! Yeah, there's a lot of good Batmen out there. And especially when the college humor Batman is sitting there with the Robert Pattinson, he's like, 'cause I'm edgy and I journal. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Zaymot Rogue, thank you for the super chat, my friend. I really appreciate it. Since you're branching out, how about an Eagle Force episode? That's a rabbit hole. Rabbit hole for the Chad hole. Maybe, possibly. Batman's one of my passions. I don't know. Maybe it's too much sharing, but my entire back is tattooed literally from like right up here all the way down below my belt of Jim Lee Batman. So, I mean, Joe is my number one, shaped my entire life, always will be. But I have a huge passion for all things the Batman. Absolutely. We'll put a pin in that. We'll consider it. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for always being here, my dude. TJC, good to see you, Terry. I miss you very much. Channel member for 16 months. Awesome guy. I hope you and your son are doing fantastic. Evening, Chad. Hope you are well. I'm fantastic, my dude. I'm hanging out with all of you awesome people, talking some Batmanses. Yeah. And apparently my wing wang is tattooed with Azrael's sword. Yeah.
It's science, people! Science!
No, that's a lie. Fake news. Ryan is fake news. Yeah, I don't know. In the Blade Runner sequel, what was it? Blade Runner 2049 or whatever, watched it once. Jared Leto was amazingly menacing embodiment of evil. Yes, he was. So it just depends on what he's in. Yeah, but at least he's not Pedro Pascal. Yeah, I'll say that. Scott Hughes says Hollywood is beyond comprehension. They already did He-Man on Earth to disastrous results. Well, you know, they did what their budget allowed. So what do? They do it again. Yep, sure. Yeah, you got to double down on shit, right? Yeah, cool. All right. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of different places you can go. So like, yeah, here's the Killer Croc version, DC Collectibles. This Anarchy figure is fantastic. A lot of people don't even know that this Arkham Origins figure exists. His head fully articulates under the hood. His hood is soft PVC, kind of like the McFarlane Red Hood, the Arkham Red Hood, not the Gotham Knights Red Hood. So their head will move under the hood. And his arms, his puffy jacket, it's just that. It's puffy, and you feel almost like a wireframe articulation under the arms. But fully posable. He has a lot of killer detail on this figure. His Molotov cocktail, like, it's a damn good figure. I fucking love this figure a lot. So whatever. It is what it is. And then you get like the Electrocutioner. It's a good figure. The face sculpt is really awesome. Lady Shiva, not so much. She has like basic bitch articulation. Her face looks like someone took a photo of her and she wasn't expecting it. Yeah. For someone who's such a badass like Shiva is, the face sculpt is not the best expression. And then, Dr. Harleen Quinzel is what it is. Yeah. But I still have them because, I got to have them, got to catch them all, right? This set is fucking good. So again, when we talk about like picking and choosing, I chose this Red Hood over McFarlane's Red Hood. I just like it better. The unmasked Deathstroke is pretty awesome, but I have the Arkham Deathstroke. Now, Copperhead, she's hard to find loose by herself. 3 times out of 5, you're going to have to bite the bullet and buy the whole set, which I did. And I just removed Copperhead from it because I already had this Red Hood Joker loose. That Copperhead's fucking awesome. And a lot of people don't know that these figures even exist, but they're out there. If you like, just look for DC Collectible Hunter, or again, there's just like Action Figure 411, but they don't have everything. Figure Realm has a pretty extensive list of all of the Batman stuff. So you just have like just straight Dark Knight trilogy, but then you Dark Knight Rises. You have to be a little bit of a detective, no pun intended, when you're looking through these lists, because there's the Dark Knight, there's Dark Knight Rises, and then there's Dark Knight trilogy. So they kind of have it broken up a little weird. Batman v Superman, Batman Returns. Let's look at some. But this is Batman Returns from Ertl, and then there's Batman Returns from Kenner. So it just kind of depends. But they also have prices, but again, individual results may vary, and it takes you to eBay. So, but this is 1/4 scale. I don't really have the best results with Figure Realm. I kind of tend to stay around here. But again, that Copperhead figure is frickin' awesome. Why are we back in the chat again? That Copperhead figure's frickin' awesome. Yeah. But, different strokes for different folks. So it's good shit. So, Ryan, we weren't ever gonna speak of that. And yet you failed me. You just let me down. You just told everybody that I showed you my Azrael Flaming Sword Wing Wang in San Diego. I thought what happened at San Diego Comic-Con stayed at San Diego Comic-Con. Guess not. But there's a lot of stuff like no one ever made a proper Amygdala figure. Ventriloquists. If you want a ventriloquist figure, you're either going to have to kit bash one like I did. I took the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade Indy from when they were in the library, took that head off, put a different head on, set him with Scarface, gave Scarface a 1/12 scale Tommy gun. There you go. I just kit bashed it. But I also, for those of you who saw like my social media post, I haven't done his lenses in the blue, and I haven't dry brushed his hair gray yet. I just kind of put the head on and threw him on the shelf. So I'll get around to him. But Amygdala I'm working on. There's a lot of figures, Batman Year 1 stuff, Batman Year 2 stuff. Again, I wanted to see a grittier version of Phantasm and not just animated aesthetic of Phantasm, but that's just me. So it is what it is. Let's go ahead and we are going to just remove that background, and we're going to go back to this. But I don't know. I've been having some fun with these new backgrounds and, just kind of changing up the window dressing. Ace Vane. Oh, Norm Brayfogle. Gotcha. Cool. Patrick says, I like Jared Leto Joker. He's the crystal meth Joker. I like the Jared Leto Joker. Again, you got to get past the grill, but the story of the grill, a lot of people either don't care about or they just kind of gloss over because they want to hate on the way he looks. That's because when he killed Jason Todd's Robin, Batman went a little overboard and shattered all the teeth out of his face. Bro. That's kind of par for the course for most Batman, but whatever. Yeah. Mother Slug says, Chad, I forgot to tell you, I got super lucky. I may have stepped into luck, found and bought G.I. Joe Sergeant Savage figure still in a package. Hell yeah, dude. Sergeant Savage is awesome. You can find a lot of the figures still on card or in box or something like that. Fantastic, man. I'm happy for you. That's really awesome. Nice. Very cool. And then Patrick Strauko uses his Chad Chat, trademark this guy, channel member for 11 months. Nib high school football rules. Hit the like button. Is that new in box? I don't. What are we talking about, man? I don't. What? Yeah.
What the hell is even that?
I don't know, but it's awesome. Thank you very much for that. BK for Life says Anarchy is not Joker's son. No. I do not do that. Anarchy is Joker's son bullshit. Nope, not gonna do it. Let me close that. No. Mm-mm. Headcanon says, I don't think we've gotten a figure of Batman's greatest foe. The only person to stalemate Batman, Amanda Waller. That's another thing. So as I was kind of gathering up, the little plastic people representation of characters that I do like, I kind of wanted Rick Flag. And I started looking at, all of McFarlane's offerings. And it's so weird. Like, he never made Amygdala. He loves weird, monstrous freaks. He could have made Amygdala a deluxe because he'd be about as big as, the deluxe Bane or Killer Croc or something like that. He didn't make Rick Flag. I mean, he made Deadshot, Bloodsport, on and on and on and on. Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man, Harley Quinn, Killer Shark Build-A-Figure. Where's Rick Flag? I don't see a Rick Flag figure. So yeah, I would love to have a figure of the Wall. Or talking about Arkham, there's the animated DC movie, which, by the way, DC's animated movies are phenomenal. Batman Assault on Arkham. I would have liked that version of King Shark with that kind of steel trap jaw, or that version of KG Beast for like the 2 seconds he's on screen before. Amanda Waller. Black Spider, freaking awesome. The character's awesome, especially in that movie, for what he does. I'm not going to give it away, but didn't get a figure of that. So yeah, so there's a lot of characters. Like, if you go down kind of the Rogues Gallery checklist that never got made into figures that I really would have liked to have seen. Pericles, could blue and gray work in live action? If you saw the Flash movie, Affleck's cameo, it's kind of a longer cameo, but Affleck was wearing blue and gray. Not a real fan of that suit. I don't know. That's the challenge. A lot of stuff in print and animation don't really translate to live action. Now, I like the Affleck suit. I really like Affleck's black and gray suit. But again, we can all find our version in some kind of media. You know, our definitive Batman. I like the Arkham City. That's just me. I think his ears are a little too long. They kind of get that lobe almost like way too far forward. There's a balance, I think. Yeah. But yes, I would love to see an Amanda Waller figure. Mother Slug. In all 3 games, Batman City, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins, and Asylum. So yeah, technically there's 4. There's 4 main console games. Which one would you say is your favorite city? My favorite version of Gotham City? That's like almost a trick question. Arkham Knight gives us most of the city. So you get like Founders Island and so on and so forth. In Arkham City, you get like the rundown old Arkham. And you can look across and see Arkham Asylum still, you know, with the vines having destroyed it. Arkham Origins is that same part of old Arkham, but it's before it's like completely destroyed. So Origins and City have the same part of Gotham City. It's just like 10, 11 years apart. I would say the city from Arkham Knight is my favorite because it's the largest, it's the most fun to explore. But I like the way I like the way Gotham City looks in Origins because the snow and the Christmas theme, and I kind of like that. Fuck it. Arkham Knight. There you go. It's a hard question to answer. Oh, I heard Obby's here. What's up, Obby? Good to see you. San Dimas High School football rules. Yes, and strange things are afoot at the Circle K. Yeah, got to have a little Bill and Ted's in there. 100%. Dreadnought K6 says, "Sup, big balls, chat hole." Are you assuming that I have large testicles? I might. I mean, I am Italian. You know, Italians are known for them coulions, baby. I don't know. Mojo says, "Chad, I just saw today all 3 Arkham games for like $8 on Xbox Market." Yeah, I just got the Arkham trilogy, which fuck you for leaving out Origins, but I just got the Arkham trilogy for my Switch 2 before I flew to New Jersey in case I had a spaz out and I would just sit there and play my game and not worry about crashing and dying. Whole other story. I just got that Arkham trilogy for my Switch 2 for $20. The Arkham games are good. If you like video games whatsoever and you have not played an Arkham game, I urge everyone who's hanging out here, please pick those games up. Or even if you just get Asylum. If you got Game Pass, fucking Arkham Knight's free on Game Pass. But again, don't play Arkham Knight first. Because then you'll go back and play Asylum and you'll think Asylum sucks. When really, Asylum's all about the atmosphere. And it was like the beginning of the whole free flow combat. So yeah. Amanda Waller definitely needs a mega fig. Do you mean like mega constructs, or you mean like a deluxe figure? I'm not a fan of the big, fat, gross Amanda Waller. I like Viola Davis's Amanda Waller. I think she played her very, very well in David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and you know, in James Gunn Presents The Suicide Squad by James Gunn. But Viola Davis she is Amanda Waller. She always will be. Oh, we're in trouble. Come here, you. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought the man was going to give a cameo. Headcanon says, "I still want a comic Peacemaker." Hey, ma'am, what do you think about Peacemaker season 2 versus Peacemaker season 1?
I've only watched the first episode for season 2, so I don't have an opinion yet on 2. But I enjoyed 1. I thought it was funny.
The ma'am liked Peacemaker season 1 and has only watched 1 episode of Peacemaker season 2. I don't know. Well, sit right here. Sit with me. No one can see you. They can kind of see you. Anyway, yes, everyone, the ma'am's here. Actually, the DC animated movies were awesome. They are awesome. Batman versus Robin with the Court of Owls. That one's fucking phenomenal. That one's so good. Stuart Jardine says it's that time of night. Chad, great as ever. Catch the rest on replay. Chat squad, a pleasure as always. Thank you for being here, Stuart. I greatly appreciate you. I saw that George Aiken was here. I hope I didn't miss him. But yeah, I'm just catching up on the chat. And then Mo says, look at that, 1 year and counting. Yeah, absolutely. Figure Fight Club, what's up? Abby, good to see you. Says, I've been focused on kit bashing many DC characters in Mezco form to add to my display that we really won't see from them. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And Viper Scout, thank you for renewing your channel membership. I always appreciate you, my dude. And again, thank you for the 1/18 scale HasLab Hiss conversion. I can never give you enough credit for that. You are the man for that, my dude. G.I. Joe, Cobra 6, Delta 17. Is that name long enough? A little bit. The ma'am says that name is long enough. I bought a Batman, and lots of Spider-Mans, but the Batman's arm broke right off when I went to move it, LOL, so I still have to buy her another one. Is that McFarlane? And then Menjoza says, Batman the Cult, long-eared cowl, my favorite version. Okay, fair enough. Some people are in the short ears. Some people are in the long ears. I guess it just depends. The ma'am likes long-eared Noid. Yeah, absolutely. And then Dreadnought says, long-eared Batman equals Bugs Bunny equals, like the ma'am says, the Noid. So I don't know. I think that with Affleck's cowl, they pulled off the short ears really well. But I also appreciated in Batman Begins, you see why he put the ears in because of the receiver for like his communications. Yeah. Oh, and then I have large balls as in not being afraid to be authentic. Yeah. Somebody's making their escape. No? Is that our chow? Dinner's here, kids. Yeah. Mother Slug says, I have all the Rocksteady Batman games and all DLC. Yeah, they did some rad stuff. The Affleck BVS Batman skin is really good in Arkham Knight. And the Cold Heart DLC for Arkham Origins, which, you know, it's Warner Brothers Montreal. It's not Rocksteady, but that's a phenomenal DLC. So is Matter of Family, which is was it the driver? Oh, the kids. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She's learning how to drive.
Oh, yeah. So we bought our kiddo an FJ Cruiser. It is sunburst yellow. We call it
Banana boat.
The banana boat, the piss cruiser, the PP cruiser, and Bumblebee. So it has like all these different names, but it's a stick and she can't drive a stick. So we're going to teach her how to drive a stick. Yeah. Bat armor is cool too. Yeah. The armored, the power suit. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty rad. Oh, everybody's saying hi. Zakanan called you the Batmamder. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Lego, a Batman Lego game thoughts. Tim, yeah, the Lego Batman games are fun because they're Lego games. But they just came out with a new Lego Batman game that is 100% like the spiritual Batman Arkham sequel that we haven't gotten. Yeah, everybody's saying hi to the ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello. And then George Aiken says in episode 2, season 2, Eagly kicks ass. Yeah, Eagly's pretty cool. So. Oh, and then Pericles says, cue the song. Do you really want to taste it from the first season? Jeffy says hi. Hi, Jeffy. Yeah. And then Triple D, whose shirt I am wearing, by the way, represent, says, hello to the top of the ma'am's head. Yeah, right there. There it is. And then BK for Life says, I was body shaming Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller, Viola Davis from Suicide. But there's the Viola Davis version, and then there's like the big fat version. I don't like the big fat version of Amanda Waller. Yeah, and the animated movies and stuff. The ma'am says it's open to interpretation, but I like Viola Davis and not fat. Patrick Strauko says, damn it, I'm downloading Arkham Knight now. Oh, and then you just got called Catwoman with a salute. Yeah. I mean, if I was Batman, she would definitely be my Catwoman. You know what I'm saying? Mother Slug says, I said it for years. Rocksteady needs to make Arkham Knight a multiplayer, giving players the opportunity to play as villains against heroes. So WB Montreal did that with Arkham Origins, where you could either be Joker's gang, Bane's gang, and then, you know, if you got so many points, you could play as Joker or Bane. And it was those two gangs versus Batman and Dick Grayson's Robin in his black, red, and yellow suit, which that's a badass suit if you haven't seen the Arkham Origins Dick Grayson suit. So yeah, they did that, and that multiplayer was kind of fun, but they killed it. So whatever. Hal Jordan says, my dear, it's not the size of the bat ears, it's how Bruce uses them. The ma'am agrees with you, Hal. You fucking jerks. HGC uses his Chad chat. Channel member for 16 months says, best Batman, Lego Batman. He only works with black and sometimes dark gray. And then Laser Pants is blowing me up. Oh, dude, that looks good. How's this for Batman, you bitch? You fucking asshole. All right, Ryan. I like your Batman collection. Oh, Ryan has the Arkham Knight Batman. I don't like that Arkham Knight suit. I really don't. I don't like it at all. I don't like the Arkham aesthetic of Nightwing, where like his cowl covers a lot of his head. I don't like that. I like the Arkham Tim Drake with the hood, but it's still not Knightfall Tim Drake. I will take Knightfall Nightwing and Knightfall Tim Drake Robin with Arkham City Batman. That's just my flavor. We all have our own. So yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Zakana says Bumblebee is the worst Transformer.
Okay.
What do you think? You think he's full of shit? Mandy likes the Rhino. Yeah, very cool. And then look at this guy. Talk about fucking insisting upon yourself. I saw your text messages. Yes, your Batman collection is very nice. I am going to do a new game room tour of the new game room. I'm waiting on the fucking popcorn bucket bat signal to show up. Did you guys know that they made a bat signal popcorn bucket? Look it up. It's pretty awesome. And it's cheap. Mikey, since Chad is in the chair, that makes her the Batmam. And are you calling me crippled? Viper Scout says, pro tip on teaching kids to drive a stick. Rent a car to not screw up your clutch. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, the ma'am says it's very rare to find a manual rental. Yeah. The ma'am is cool. Yep. She says thank you. Who was Batman's best love interest? Vicky Vale, Wonder Woman, Catwoman, Mary Jane Watson? What about Talia al Ghul? I'm going to say Catwoman. I'm going to say Selena Kyle, not Vicky Vale. Wonder Woman, yes, but that's in like the Justice League Unlimited, some comics runs, but I will always give it to Catwoman. Ma'am? Ma'am says Selena Kyle as well. Yeah, we're going with that. Hella Geek, what's up, man? Says, good Sunday all. Let's talk about the best rogues gallery ever. Fuck yes. Batman has the best rogues. 100%. Oh my God. Acknowledge you. Acknowledge this.
Ay, mira.
Acknowledge that bullshit. That's that bullshit. Yeah, people say Catwoman. 100%. BK for Life says, moments with ma'am. Yeah. Actually, a lot of you may not have known this, but I didn't get home for a show for a live stream once, and the ma'am did the entire live stream without me. 100%. Now our kid's in here too. What's up, kiddo? Yeah, I know. Yeah. And then Greg Harris says, you're welcome, Chad, on the Batman popcorn bucket. Yes, thank you, Greg. 100%. Thank you for empowering me. It's just that fucking thing is still not here yet. I bought it immediately. Still not here. I don't know why. The popcorn bucket scales with 1/6. Yeah, but do you remember members in the Dark Knight Returns? Yeah, there's like the Gotham Twin Towers. And do you remember how big the bat signal is in Dark Knight Returns? I like the idea of a really massive spotlight for the bat signal. And I looked at the Mafex one. I looked at the Mezco one. I looked at the McFarlane one. There's a shitload of bat signals. But I liked the popcorn bucket. There was just something fun about it. So yeah, that's going to go on the shelf with my Commissioner Jim Gordon. Actually, I think it's Lieutenant Jim Gordon, the figure that I have, but whatever. Who cares? TJC, Chad, when I actually get some time off, how about a Wildlands stream? Dude, I would love to stream Wildlands. Now that my game room is like mostly done. The gaming PC, which we have a gaming PC, is set up right next to an Xbox. So I have the option to stream on a gaming PC or capture card via Xbox. Yeah, I've been talking with Jay Bartlett about maybe doing some gaming streams. It wouldn't be like my Sunday 5 p.m. Eastern. It would be something else. So yeah. Oh, Cliff, you don't like my nightmare fuel? You don't like this? I'm just playing. I'm sorry. I'm done. Yeah. Jim Largo, what's up, my dude? Pre-crisis, Golden Age Bruce and Selena were married and had a daughter. Yeah, Huntress, correct. They almost got married again in the comics continuity too. Yeah. Batman's best love interest is the Knight because he is vengeance. Why do you think I have a tattoo that says vengeance? I am vengeance. I am the Knight. Now you know. Yep. Kenzo says, good stuff, Chad. And my Broncos about to get the W. It's a good day. Very cool. I'm not a football guy, and I don't like football getting in the way of my baseball, but I'm happy for you, my dude. Yeah, that's on. Brad Davenport says, what's up, boys? You're fucking late. That's what's up. I love you, though. Were you too busy selling military secrets? on the Scottish black market. If you know, you know. That's probably what you were doing. Mother Slug says your wife's doppelganger lives in my city here in Pennsylvania. No joke. Why did you say that name? I like that scene. Am I weird? It just kind of coincided with the whole Mother Slug thing. And I thought it was funny. I like the Martha scene. I think it proves a point. Batman became too brutal. He got too caught up in his crusade. He was becoming what Joe Chill became when he took his parents from him. And the fact that Clark and Bruce both have mothers with the same name, when Clark was so concerned about saving Martha Kent, it triggered, right? It made Bruce realize that he was becoming Joe Chill. I liked that scene. I mean, could it have played out a little better? Yeah. I'm not saying it was done the best, but the point of that scene I thought was very powerful. Chad, what's your least favorite Batmobile? Oh, are we going to rehash this question? That's okay. It is a tie between the Batman and Robin single-seater disco ball mobile and the sparkly Battinson proto Batmobile Dodge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Battlefield coming soon. I've heard nothing but good things about that Battlefield game. Nightmare Fuel is Scuba Pete wearing lipstick. I like the fact that he put a K on there because we're talking about the Dark Knight. Are you talking about this Scuba Pete?
Chad, why are you so insensitive?
Kind of looks like the Joker. Or if anyone knows who Punchline is the female like sidekick, wannabe quasi messed up love interest to the Joker. Yeah, Punchline. McFarlane made a figure of her. I don't want that. Who's my baseball team? Fucking New York Yankees, baby. Always has been. Whole life. Yep. Brad Davenport, I'm never late. I arrive at the precise point I intend to. So you're a wizard? Harry? Are you a wizard, Harry? Yeah, Zakanan loves the Martha scene, the only good part of the movie. I think you're just talking shit. Bruce was becoming Thomas Wayne. If you're talking about the Flashpoint Thomas Wayne, yeah, but he was really turning into like what Joe Chill turned into. You know, just like a heartless killer. That's what Bruce was becoming. You know, he was so blinded that all he wanted to do was kill Superman. That's all he wanted to do. And Joe Chill didn't want to kill the Waynes, but he did kill the Waynes. So, and if you play the Arkham games, there's some cool Joe Chill stuff in there too. Yep. I think Golden Age Batman married Batwoman, not Selena. Yeah, I don't know. Hella Geek says, I agree about the Martha scene. People give it shit, but they underestimate the power of a name's effect on the damaged psyche of a man who saw his mother right? I'm just saying, if any one of us thought about our mom's first name, if somebody else were to say, my mom's name is this, say, my mom too. And you, right, there's, even at the cursory level, there's a bit of a connection with that, right? My wife and my sister share the same middle name. I think that's cool. It kind of, helps connect my wife and my sister. But I think a lot of people just wanted to dunk on BVS. Now, look, that Lex Luthor was shit. Yeah. His Luthor, terrible. Bryan Cranston should have been Lex Luthor, period, paragraph, or Billy Zane, or I don't know, a million other actors other than Jesse fucking Eisenberg. But yeah, that Luthor sucked ass. And, doing Doomsday. Okay, yeah. Punchline is the Temu Harley Quinn. Punchline sucks. She looks like some freaking somebody that would walk into Starbucks and complain that their pumpkin spice latte was not hot enough. She's terrible. Yes, Punchline was Joker's replacement for Harley Quinn. Yeah, exactly. Just, same point, different verbiage, whatever. Warehouse fight was also great. I would argue that the BVS warehouse fight scene was probably the best couple minutes of Batman ever put to live action. Fight me. I will argue that all day long. Like, fluid, brutal. That Batman, you take Batman in that fight scene and that whole warehouse scene, and you put him against any other live action Batman on film, and he would fucking mop the floor with them. Any of them. Keaton's Batman from 89 or Returns, or even Keaton's Batman from The Flash, which tried to like level up his old man armored Batman game. Clooney's Batman, Pattinson's Batman, Kilmer, Bale. Now, Bale in Batman Begins is probably the only one that would stand a chance, but none of them. Affleck from BVS would fold all of them in fucking half like cardboard boxes. I would argue that to anyone, with anyone. So the Tall Tale games. Yeah, I didn't really get into those. I don't know, it's just me. Yeah. Batman McFarlane made a figure of that woman saying, "Chad, why are you being so insensitive?" Yeah, Punchline. Laser Pants says, my mom's name is Megatron. Nope, doesn't work for me. You know what? My mom's name is Megatron too. Actually, this is the one that he's about to lose his arm and get some wires for eyes, because this bad boy is going to be my Energon Megatron custom here in a hot minute. That's coming up. Yeah, my wife's. What if my mom's name is Badassatron? Does that still count? No, it doesn't count. Billy Zane is Lex Luthor. I'd have taken him any fucking day over Jesse Eisenberg. The Arkham Knight game, the Cobblepots were part of the Court of Owls, as was one of the Waynes. Some of the Waynes. Yeah, like the Court of Owls is kind of like the Illuminati of Gotham City. Like they were intertwined with everything. The Arkhams, the Elliots, the Cobblepots, the Waynes, everybody, everything. Yeah. Punchline is Joker's daughter. What the fuck? Really? Oh yeah. Punchline, Joker's daughter, and Batman Who Laughs suck. Batman Who Laughs sucks ass. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, she's not his daughter. I didn't think she was. Yep, I agree. BVS warehouse fight scene was a shit. Look, I don't believe in echo chambers. Like, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. I mean, that's totally fine. Batman versus Predator Bats was great for its time. Are we talking about the comics, or are we talking about that little indie film with Joker and the straitjacket and the Predator and the aliens? Because that was fucking good too. That shit was good. I would love to see a Thomas Wayne Batman Flashpoint comic series. And look, they had Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne. You want to talk about a fucking badass Elseworlds Flashpoint Batman? Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Why did that not happen? Why did they have to go with Michael Keaton? Because fuck you. That's why. That sucked. Yep. Affleck, you were the bomb in Phantoms, yo. Thank you for the $2 super chat, HGC. Yes, he was. And Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are going to be at El Paso Comic Con, which I'm waiting for my press passes for. And the Mam and I, we're going to go kick it with Jay and Silent Bob. And I'm going to get Jason Mewes to maybe record a little intro for my channel. Because, Snoochie Boochies is Jason Mewes. So, yeah, I love him. I do. I'm just making sure that I'm all caught up on stuff. Pokey87 channel member for 15 months. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here. TGIS birthday edition. Whose birthday? My birthday's next month. Whose birthday is it? Anyway, damn it. I probably missed it. I'm sorry. If it's someone's birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yeah, Court of Owls story was pretty good. Absolutely. That's why I do have Court of Owls mixed in with my Arkham and Knightfall stuff, just because obviously the Court of Owls were around during the whole Knightfall, Night Quest, Night's End, and Arkham stories. They were just in the shadows behind the scenes, so they fit in with everything. Fuck it. Oh, that Megatron is fire. No, that's the MP36. Yeah, this is the no shit Takara Tomy Hasbro MP36. That's the big boy. He's just sitting in a chair. But yeah, that's the 11-inch Megatron. Absolutely. The YOLO Park is over there somewhere, and the blocky action edition is in my office. Yeah. Yeah. I wish my mom's name was Rachel. Yeah. But again, right? That kind of goes back to what I was saying all the way at the beginning. You spend your whole life to do this crusade and you're willing to give it all up for Rachel Dawes? Fuck no. And I thought Rachel Dawes was a good character in the first movie, especially because she was always smuggling peas, if you know what I mean. Boop, 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 nipples. But to recast her with Maggie Gyllenhaal? Fuck no. First of all, Maggie Gyllenhaal's face, she looks like a foot. Why would Bruce Wayne be going after that? He is a billionaire playboy. He does not need Maggie Gyllenhaal's fugly mug. No, sucked ass. Kentucky Inbred, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah. That's a good play on it. My mother was a hamster and my father smelt of nanoprobes. Or elderberries, whichever. Of course I'm French. Where do you think I got this outrageous accent? Lewis Wilson would beat every other version of Batman. Just kidding. I've never seen it. Shut up, Scott. James, what's up, man? We're about to call it a night, kids. Yeah. About to call it a night. Chad and Laserpants' mothers are named Megatron. Weird. Okay. In other news, the animated series is the GOAT. It is 100%. And Mask of the Phantasm, which is a animated series, full-length movie. It was in theaters. It counts as a feature film. That is my favorite Batman movie. 100%. Snooch to the motherfucking booch. Yeah. Anyway, so McFarlane should make a Falcone crime family 3-pack. Albert Falcone, also another character that never got a figure. Anyway. Oh, dude, it's Pokey's birthday. Babe, you want to come over here and say happy birthday to Pokey? I know. Well, get your doggo to move.
Happy birthday.
Oh, how sweet. Yeah, very cool. But, yeah, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me and talking all things Batman. We talked games, toys, live action, animation. It was freaking awesome. Go away or I shall taunt you a second time. Yes, I know. We all know. Yep. Yep. Everybody say happy birthday to Pokey. Oh, yeah. Rest in peace to Shirley Walker. 100%. Yeah, she did the version of the theme for Mask of the Phantasm. She was phenomenal. I loved her theme. Kentucky Inbred said, I missed it all. That's okay. You can join the replay squad because replay squad's appreciated. Especially for those of us, a lot of us here are content creators, and we're all getting fucking boned by the new algorithm. So I feel all of your pain. We're all in the same boat. So You guys are all phenomenal, and I thank you for being here. I enjoyed talking something other than Joe. It was fun. And maybe we could talk some more Batman again soon. Danny Elfman's still alive. Just say, yeah, he is. His theme was good. So, yes, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. And may this be with you. Maybe I played that one too many times. I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe I need to get some Batman ones now. You guys tell me. But thank you all for being here so much. And I'll put up a poll and see what we're going to do next week. We'll figure it out. Love you. Bye.
Chad, how insensitive of you.
Batman is DC's version of Moon Knight? Oh, man, I will fight you. I will frickin' fight you for that. No.
I am offended that our children are not receiving affordable